The Eagles outlast the Cowboys 24-21. They get the first win of the new NFL season. You know, week one is always wild, but this opener was probably the most wildest one that I've been alive to watch. Within the first 6 seconds of the game, the Eagles' best player on defense gets ejected for spitting on the Cowboys' starting quarterback. Now, I'm not defending Jaylen Carter for spitting on Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott was asking for it. If you saw the TV replay, it just shows Jaylen Carter walking up to Dak Prescott and but a few seconds leading up to Jaylen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott was trying to rage bait Jaylen Carter. He spit at Jaylen Carter's shoes, and the refs ain't see it. But like always, it's not about who starts it. It's about who gets caught finishing it. And Jaylen Carter, he finished it in a really nasty way. And of course, Jaylen Carter, his character is being attacked. He's being labeled a thug. But the Eagles knew what they were getting in Jaylen Carter when they drafted him in the first round a few years ago. There were several teams picking in the top 10 of that same draft that passed on Jaylen Carter because of the character concerns. And of course he's going to get suspended. You just can't spit on the starting quarterback of America's team in prime time and the NFL not punish you for it. 6 seconds into the season, Jaylen Carter is already getting into some bullshit. What a way to start the season for the Philadelphia Eagles. In spite of losing their best player on defense, they still find a way to beat the Cowboys. And this game could have been more one-sided if the Philadelphia Eagles were able to be a little bit better on defense in the first half of this game. Dak Prescott, he looked phenomenal. He carried the Cowboys. You can't put this loss on Dak Prescott. This is one of the best games that I've seen Dak Prescott have. Regardless of what the box score shows, Dak Prescott was balling tonight. All that money that the Cowboys are paying him, he earned every single penny with his performance in this game. CeeDee Lamb, he stole the Cowboys. You're one of the highest paid receivers in the league. You got to catch that pass. You're wearing those gloves. It's never been easier to play receiver now with these gloves. You can't drop a pass like that. That's as perfectly placed as what Dak Prescott could have put that pass. And when you're an elite receiver, you got to make those kinds of catches. And I'm not a huge fan of the play call in that situation. One thing that I can't understand about offensive coordinators in the NFL, for the life of me, why are you calling bombs on 4th and 3? We have 3 yards to go to get the first down. Why are you trying to chug passes 20 yards downfield? We just need to get 3 yards. What does going for 30 and 40-yard bombs going to do to help us in this situation? Take the higher percentage throw. You don't need to be in the NFL or to have any experience coaching to have more common sense and more knowledge of situational football than some of the guys who get paid millions of dollars to manage these kinds of situations, to call plays in these situations. I really wonder to myself, is it that hard to be an offensive coordinator? Because some of this stuff seems to be like it's common sense. I don't get why it's called common sense if everybody doesn't seem to have it. You're throwing bombs, go balls, back shoulder fades on 4th and 3 when we just need 3 yards to keep the drive alive and give ourselves a shot to win the game. I'll never understand it. For as good as what Dak Prescott played tonight, the Cowboys' defense was atrocious without Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was missed. They couldn't stop Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts looked like a top 5 quarterback tonight. He looked like an elite QB. Anytime the Cowboys were able to get a few hands on Jalen Hurts, he's breaking out of sacks. He's running over guys. He's making guys miss. He's extending plays. He's throwing dimes downfield. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback that gets defined by the box score, but never gets defined by how he plays in the games that he wins. If you don't like Jalen Hurts, you're going to find a reason to say he's overrated. He's not a top 5 quarterback. But if you are a fan of the game, you put your bias aside. When you watch Jalen Hurts play, you see a quarterback that always rises to the occasion. Jalen Hurts is one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the NFL in the fourth quarter. He never does anything to put a W in harm's way. Unlike the Dallas Cowboys tonight, Dak Prescott, he had a few risky throws. He had a few plays that he left off the field. He could have played much better late down the stretch in this game. The Cowboys just are a team that doesn't execute well in the big moments. The Eagles do. The main reason is because of Jalen Hurts. Of course, Saquon Barkley helps that out. Saquon Barkley was still doing Saquon Barkley things tonight. I'm going up against somebody that has Saquon Barkley in one of my fantasy leagues. I thought he would have had a lot more rushing yards than what he finished the night with. The Cowboys' run defense was atrocious. Trading away Micah Parsons, that was supposed to help that. Micah Parsons apparently wasn't that good against the run, although that is a lie. One of the highest graded run defenders by Pro Football Focus last year. His presence definitely was missed. Cowboys couldn't do anything on defense without Micah Parsons. You had no guy who could get consistent pressure on Jalen Hurts. That's why Jalen Hurts was looking like prime Tom Brady back there in the pocket against this Cowboys defense. There was no threat. There was no threat coming off that edge to put some fear in Jalen Hurts. The Cowboys season, I don't think it's over yet like I thought it was before this game started. Brian Schottenheimer, I felt the play calling was pretty okay up until that 4th and 3. The team, they were a little bit more resilient than what I initially thought they would be, considering they just traded away the soul of their team a week ago. And Dak Prescott, he balled out. If the Cowboys were going to have a shot at beating the Eagles tonight, Dak Prescott was going to have to play great football, and that's what he did. The box score doesn't do justice for how well Dak Prescott played tonight. The Cowboys didn't lose this game because of Dak. They lost this game because CeeDee Lamb is supposed to be an elite receiver making elite receiver money, but he can't make the elite catches that guys like him are supposed to make with the game on the line. The Eagles defense, they were able to turn things around in the second half. They sent a lot of pressure at Dak, especially during that 4th and 3, but CeeDee Lamb has to catch that pass. And this is a game that the Dallas Cowboys let get away from them.